Hello, comic book readers. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome to Off the Rack. It's a comic book review show where we take the books from the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend books that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up, which is usually Wednesdays, but DC mucked everything up over the pandemic, so now it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays, unless you buy your comics in floppies, in which case it's probably Wednesdays, because most comic book stores don't bother to put them out on Tuesdays. They just keep them behind the counter. One comic shop that we like to go to actually does that, where they're like, they keep a stack of the DC books behind the counter. And they're like, these are going on the shelf on Wednesday. Would you like them now? Let me root through it and grab one for you.
Nice.
Which I really appreciate because, like, yeah, it beats what other comic shops that I've patronized over the past year have done, which is stop carrying DC altogether.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can have a pull list, but they're not going to order them.
Right. Like, you won't be able to just check them off the rack, so to speak.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right? But yeah, so we also want to mention that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live right now, welcome. You're some of the lucky few, and you have the opportunity to sponsor today's episode by using Super Chats. Those Super Chats go into the infrastructure of the entire ComicPOP channel. We do appreciate it. And as an added bonus, we get to read them here on the show. So if you happen to want to share some thoughts or have a question or comment, use Super Chats, and we will read them here on the program. Like these fine people like Patrick Lawson, says, I finally made it on time. Here is some support. Well, thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
Raj Patel says, hey, Sal and Tiffany. Hello, Raj. Welcome to the
Hi.
show. Thanks for being here, man. Just wanted to say Swamp Thing, Nocterra, and Hellions are great. Gonna try the new Suicide Squad from ARC, and screw Berserker's movie treatment BS. Enjoy the warm weather coming in Jersey. That's right. It is going to be about 60 for at least 2 days.
Yeah.
It's coming up. I can't wait. So thank you very much for your support, man. And great reviews all around. Did you read Hellions?
Yeah. Of course I did.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. You know what? Let's talk about it right now. You read Hellions. How was it?
Well, it's written by Zeb Wells with art by Steven Segovia.
Oh,
It was awesome.
Yay!
Especially if you don't like Mr. Sinister.
I don't know anybody who likes Mr. Sinister. I think people like to hate Mr. Sinister.
If you were looking for an opportunity to enjoy watching him literally suffer and be tortured,
yes,
this was the issue for you.
He's been asking for it since Dawn of X.
Yeah, Arcade is out of his mind. I mean, like,
that sounds about right.
More so? I don't know.
He seems a little more unhinged.
A little more unhinged. There's a lot happening there. Needless to say, he has the Hellions. They're all like in little like rooms in his murder world.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like robots involved, and you know they're using was it Mastermind?
Yeah.
To trick everyone to thinking that those robots are part of like their dreamlike states that they're in, and they're all experiencing different things. Like Psylocke is hanging out with her daughter.
Oh. And
you know, Crow is in like Vietnam.
Okay.
Killing people and being told it's totally cool.
Oh no!
Like don't worry, it's cool. Wild Child has a moment between Sabretooth and Wolverine where Sabretooth and Wolverine are squaring off.
Okay.
In the woods, in the snow.
Oh, that's like.
And then Wild Child shows up and like hurts Sabretooth, and like Wolverine's all like, "Oh no, it's Wild Child!" So that's his dream.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Because Wolverine would never be like, "Oh no, it's Wild Child."
No, he wants to be like, this is what he wants, right? So they're all going through these like iterations of like things that they would like. You know what I mean? Like Nanny and Orphan Maker and one together. Nanny has all these babies. And Orphan Maker has 2 nannies.
Oh no.
That are so you know, Havoc has Madeline Pryor back.
Oh.
And like she's like totally normal, like, you know, doing her thing.
Cool.
And he's like, okay. But the whole point is that he is forcing Sinister to like watch this, and that like at the end of the day it's like he also has to have a check and balance system against being taken over as well in theory, because it's like how is Arcade gonna stop that, right? Well, he literally has someone like off
the grid, so to speak.
Yeah, like watching everything, and that person has to confirm things. I guess in my head I'm like, how would you like how couldn't that like be crafted that that's still happening to you even if it's not happening to you? So like, I don't know how it's really gonna work out, but like he'll say a bunch of stuff and then he'll go confirm, and you'll hear someone go confirm, and eventually Sinister's like, he says a whole bunch of stuff too, and he's like confirm, and he's like, do I confirm that? And everyone's like, no!
No, don't confirm it!
Don't confirm that! Shut up!
Only take my confirmations.
Yeah, it's about me.
Fair enough.
He also has another person with him, a woman named Miss Locke, who's in like a sexy outfit, kind of
Okay.
like a Psylocke outfit.
Yeah?
It's a little creepy.
Hmm.
A little creepy.
Okay.
He wants Sinister to make him a whole bunch of clones to fill his murder world with, and I'm like, is this like a Bizarro Westworld kind of thing? But
Yes.
Sinister inevitably just is like, all right, fine, like, yeah, I'm in, I'll do it. And he's like, oh no, so you're supposed to actually hold out, and then I'm like, torture you and like whatever. So he's like, someone to do that anyway.
Right.
And so he pulls out like dental tools and he starts like rooting around in his mouth. And it's very uncomfortable, and like, especially
That's
if
cool.
I don't really, the dentist doesn't really bother me, but if it does, it might bother you.
Cool.
But Sinister really gets it in this issue. Eventually Psylocke is like, her daughter's like hungry, so her like she makes her food, and then she wants pudding for dessert, and like, you know, and then like they're sitting there and they're eating it, and she's like, I really want to enjoy this, and I want you to know that like I really appreciate what you've done here for me and given me this opportunity.
Oh.
But I have to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
What's your name?
Mm.
And it doesn't know.
Right.
And so like she like psychically screams out to the others, and or specifically to Crow, and so like he kind of is pulled out of his, but then once they get the blip that like anyone's shaking the dream off at all, they turn it to a nightmare. And so then like a really messed up version of
her daughter.
Well, no, Psylocke, Betsy, shows up and is like chasing her through the woods.
That's cool.
So they all have like things like turned on them on their heels, and it kind of goes back to those first issues notes of like horror, you know, like how the first few issues like or the first arc had like those like cool horror moments in it.
Sure.
This kind of went back to that.
Nice.
So I really dug it. Like honestly, just a really solid issue.
Yeah. Sounds like it's just a consistent issue or series.
It is a consistent series if it's what you're looking for, and like honestly, it is what I'm looking for. But it was kind of fun to see Sinister get it.
Good.
Honestly.
Nice.
And the art looks great.
Yeah.
The art has honestly just been getting progressively better.
Oh.
Like I liked it at the beginning, but it definitely had its like little like quirks here and there. But like they're really starting to smooth out, and like honestly, it's just become pretty consistent.
Nice. I wanted to talk a little bit about Milestone Returns. But before I do that, of course, Brian Rowland says, I'm liking the earlier author acts, but you guys are great anytime. Well, thank you, Brian. That's very nice. Yeah.
We're trying this out. Like literally I'm coming from my job directly to the studio instead of stopping home.
Yeah. It works for everybody, honestly, just because like then you have more time in your life.
Yeah. As long as I actually get out when I'm supposed to.
Which, you know, isn't
doesn't always happen, you know.
Yeah. And Gerald helping us out in a big bad way. Thank you very much, Gerald, for your support. So yeah, Milestone returns. Milestone finally returns as a digital, like Provision as a digital exclusive series, as a digital exclusive bunch of series. But listen, DC is publishing Milestone again. Yeah. And if you had been listening to us for the last month or two, you might have been picking up Milestone books already because DC was making them available through their current Marvel Unlimited competitor series.
The original run of
series,
Milestone.
Yes, which for my money is the reason to read Milestone. For particularly the static series was available, but also hardware. And I think Blood Syndicate's also available there. And of course Icon as well. These are the characters people remember, and these if you remember Milestone at all. But you know, DC's been teasing this series for a long time, or at the very least its return. Finally worked it out. Here it is, and it's treated like it's in its own universe as it should be, in the Dakotaverse. What did you think? Because Milestone returns, or Milestone's like new Milestone returns.
I should have read the credits page a little more closely, and actually I think it was at the end, and then I realized that it was like actually two different issues kind of put together.
Yes, because
it was like stuff that was published earlier during DC Fandom,
right? And
I didn't realize that, so there's like this jump suddenly, and like we rehash everything we just did, but done by different artists with different voices, with people different ages, with like a couple of different story notes here and there. And then once I understood that, I was like, all right, cool,
right?
Here's what I really appreciate about this, because this is very much like a relaunching of this.
Complete relaunch, reboot.
A reboot, honestly. And so, like, you're getting origin stories for a lot of these characters. Some of them are already established, but you're learning about them. But
and they're all updated. Everyone's getting a contemporary origin story.
But like with the Big Bang part of it, like I really honestly appreciated the modern update to it. At first, I was kind of like, oh, damn, they changed the original Static origin, like how he ended up getting his powers.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you know what, though? Like, there is something to be said about connecting people who are younger, and this is something that's a little more, you know, on the cusp, and on, like, something that's honestly actually on the pulse of what's going on and what's important.
Right.
Not that, like, here's the thing. I am so thankful, honestly, for that first Static run, not only for telling such a strong and incredible story, but honestly for educating me about an event I was completely unaware of.
Yes.
So like that's utterly incredible, and I think speaks to the power that comics have in educating folk. And so like when the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is perfect. Like this is a perfect modernization, I think, of the character.
Absolutely.
In terms of like how folk get their powers, I was like, this is kind of cool. I mean, like, honestly, there was like this moment where I was like, this is kind of what I wish Inhumans was.
Yeah.
A little bit, honestly. Like
right.
I found myself like thoroughly enjoying it and thoroughly enjoying like my ability to relate to some of these characters. Obviously, we all come from different walks of life and we all have different interactions and experiences in the world, but I feel like there's something in these books that you can relate to.
Totally.
Like literally, there's a moment with, I guess it's Hardware, when he's working for Alva and he realizes he's gonna take the fall for all of this, and like for different reasons, but like he's having this moment where he's like explaining to everybody like what is going to happen, and I'm like, how many people have been at work,
right,
not in a managerial position, which I've literally never been in, and well, not a true one, and you realize you're literally about to have everything put
thrown on top of
you, and like even if it wasn't your fault, even remotely, like, and like that was like one of those like connections where I was like, I am very much invested. Not that I necessarily would go the route that he goes,
no,
but like there is that like real world connection right there.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is something kind of cool about this, like cool that we have the original Static, but now we have like this kind of, and Milestone universe in general.
Yes,
I'm just more familiar with that character, so I feel like I can more
everyone
speak to that
is
character.
like, the reality is, if you are familiar with Milestone in any way, you know Static probably more than you know Hardware,
right?
Maybe Icon, but only because you're a Young Justice animated series fan.
Sure, but like honestly, a lot of these stories I was kind of interested in following after this. I will say, following like, again, once I realized, honestly, that there were 2 different books in there, because I honestly didn't notice that part of the title page at first. Yeah. And so, like, I'm like, wait, how did, like, 3 different artist teams work on the same pages? Wait, what? Yeah. The art does shift quite a bit, and, like, fairly significantly throughout this book. Yes. And there are some styles I like a little bit more so than others. Same. But, like, there was nothing that I was like, oh, I don't like this, and that's what turns me off from the book. It's just there were some things I just liked more. Right. A lot of, like, a couple of these stories I definitely were like, I really want to, like, follow this and, like, see where this goes for sure. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, Icon, I was really enjoying that, and, like, the narration of it, of, like, being like, you know,
this is Rocket's, like, perspective.
Yeah, well, Rocket's like, you know, hey, like, all I asked was to help have, like, with, like, drug dealers and bullies basically on the street, and, like, the realization is in Icon's mentality is like, that's not going to stop there. We need to trace this down. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, this is just a cool dynamic between these 2. Agreed. Especially since she's also a high school student. Right. Like, and like,
yeah, as it should be.
Yeah. So honestly, I enjoyed this quite a bit. Yeah. And again, like the fact that it was 2 different books and I didn't quite catch on to that is on me. That's fair. But like, once I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I do desperately wish that it wasn't just digital. Yeah, me too. But honestly, I mean, like, you'll get the trades. That's what I'm actually very excited for, because as we know, a lot of folk do trade wait. And so this is going to be an opportunity for people, because the fact is, you know, if it's a digital series, it's costing them less to put it out. Yeah. Like, in theory, at least the printing cost is removed. No, it absolutely, like, there should be different rules for this series in terms of its, like, release. Yeah, and its sales. I mean, as you can see, they're also calling it seasons. So, like, there's going to be arcs, and then they're probably going to switch out. Like, maybe Static's only going to get, like, a trade, and then they'll do another story. Right. Or another character. Right, but, like, I feel like, you know, if you're not a digital reader, which I recognize that a lot of people don't like it. They don't like the digital experience, and that's not what they're looking for. That's like, I think 100%, like, you know, if you're like, but I do want to get this and I do want to read these stories, like, at the very least you could do is, like, go to social media in some way, shape, or form and be like, really looking forward to getting a trade of this, because like, I don't read digitally. Right. And like, just let them know that at least you're interested in the story in some capacity and as you'd like to have it. Yeah, 100%. The only way that you want to, like, the best way to send a message to them is to pre-order. So, like, in the case of digital, which you can't, actually you can, but like only through Comixology. I think you can subscribe. You can subscribe to the series. But what I would recommend is contacting your local comic book store or whatever comic
place you order your books from and pre-order the trade.
Yeah.
I know that we did a whole episode with Jim Zub where we talked about like pre-orders, and there were like a lot of angry people talking about how like, well, that if that's the way that the business is going to be run, then I just won't patronize it. Like that'll send a message. And I'm like, actually the only message it'll send is that like the book you like doesn't have as many fans as you might think. And like, you know, it's like going to a baseball game being like, I don't like how these rules are played, so I won't play. And they're like, well, we're still going to fucking play baseball. So, so long.
And I mean, they could be handling this like some of the other books that they did where it was like it went out digitally and then later on they printed them.
Yes. And so I'm sure they might.
And maybe they'll do that as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, it'll depend honestly also where they pay attention to their sales.
Yes.
Because a lot of times digital sales are handled differently. So that's just my concern there. But otherwise, like I kind of enjoyed this, especially knowing some of the Milestone history in terms of their characters. And so like watching them take those stories and try to keep the heart of them, but like make them modern was kind of cool.
I agree. I liked the first several stories more than the reprint of the book that came out from Fandom.
The Fandom one.
That Fandom book was rough.
It was rough. It just felt a little rushed.
It was very rushed. The art was not synonymous with with the book.
But that, like, again, not recognizing that, like, it just threw me off much.
I just read this.
Why am I? What?
They should have led with that, but I think maybe they recognized like the art and the storytelling is stronger from the books that are coming out versus the sampler they released from the Fandom.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend it. If you haven't already checked it out, it'll give you a little like heads up. The other thing I really like about it, and the last thing I'm going to say about Milestone as far as like today's concerned, is that yes, it's changing the origins. Yes, it's changing everything. I'm one of the few people who's like, the Icon costume sucks. Go back to the old one. I hate all the red. It's just too much red.
Oh, I didn't mind it, but I don't think I'm less familiar with like the look he had.
It's a lot of green in the original one, but like I prefer it. I just think there's too much red. You got to break it up. How about this? It didn't strike me as like anything was wrong. Well, good. That means that it at least might not like have the same effect.
I did legitimately, and I still do it. I think I'll get over it. Miss Static's costume from the comics.
No, it's a very,
but it's modern. It's supposed to be modern. It's supposed to look a certain way, and it's supposed to appeal to a new generation as well as bring in like past fans of Milestone.
And here's the thing: is that like normally I'd be like, that sucks, but they also are paying attention to releasing the originals in digital as well.
Yes.
They are not throwing everything out. So it's like, if you don't like that, or if you want the old stuff, just go buy it. It's there too.
Right. And that's kind of fun too. Like there's something like
kind of cool. They get like compliments.
Well, I was going to say kind of cool about the fact that it's like there's going to be hopefully newer generations of comic book fans reading this new version of Milestone, these new origins, and having conversations with like fans who are like, I used to read Milestone back in the day, and like talking about like not only like the differences but like the similarities in what these characters are facing, and also like just who they are as like in terms of growth. So I think it's cool.
I agree. Bottle Episode Production says, when is the next letters video? I have a stockpile of stuff to send. It's coming out hopefully in the next week or two. We did shoot a very long one, so I'm either going to split it up into 2 episodes. We'll see. But I am working on it. The Star 361 Hellions is a hidden gem in the Marvels right now. I genuinely get excited to read it, but they need to chill on doing my boy Havoc dirty. Lol. That's why he's there. But
don't forget, like in this instance, like he definitely has some stuff that he needs to get through and to work through. And maybe this experience in this past issue will bring that to the surface enough for him to recognize that he does need to deal with certain things so that he can grow and move on.
Right. Crimson Comet 98. Hey guys, how long do you think Wally will remain the main Flash? I like both. I'm glad he's getting redeemed after being a villain in DC's eyes. As long as we'll see. It could last only as long as Infinite Frontier #0, which did come out last week, and we are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Williamson set up he teed it up, and he was like, here you go. Williamson seems to be kind of like the unofficial architect of the Infinite Frontier, the way that like Snyder, while he was not an editor, definitely dictated the line of DC books for the last 10 years. I think Williamson is like up to bat. He's going to be doing that, and Infinite Frontier is his step forward. So let's talk about Infinite Frontier #0.
Let's do it.
Because it's what DC would like to be one of the biggest books of the week, or if not month. I don't think it was in sales, but I think it certainly it does its job of being like, this is what we're doing. This is the future of the DC universe without all that future state stuff.
Before we jump into this fully, can I just say how like I didn't necessarily care for the fact that DC chose to launch Infinite Frontier #0 and the Milestone relaunch
at the same time.
At the same time, like I was like,
one got dwarfed big time, and I think we all know which one it was.
Infinite Frontier.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah, me too.
I wish they had put a little more focus on the Milestone relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
That's fair. There's a lot of creative teams. Obviously, Infinite Frontier is, it wants you to think, but not think too much about DC Universe Rebirth #1, which was released, a long time ago to herald the Rebirth relaunch, where they're like, here's a book that's showing you the through line and gives you an idea about what the direction of this whole publishing line is going to be.
Right.
But it also embodies the spirit and the publishing initiative that DC has taken on over the last few years, which is, this is a book that the credits page for Infinite Frontier #0 looks exactly like the credits page for every 80th anniversary book that DC has published over the last 2 or 3 years. This is the title, here's all the creative teams. The only difference is these are the creative teams on the books that are coming out from Infinite Frontier, from DC, going forward.
Kind of.
It's like, this is who's doing the Wonder Girl book. Here's who's doing the Batman book. Here's who's doing Superman. Like,
right. I'm sorry. I thought Batman was changing. I don't know.
No, they were going to change. No. Originally, Ridley was going to be writing Batman, but he only got Future State, and now that Future State is not a part of the main thing, he only did as much as Future State was.
But they're clearly okay.
Yeah, no. Tynan the Fourth is doing Batman. He's staying on Batman for as long as he wants to be on the book. Mariko Tamaki's taking over Detective, and John Ridley's doing whatever the hell else over there.
Well, he's doing a digital Batman series. If you want to support him, that's a way to do it. It's one of those 99-cent digital series that eventually, I guess, will be collected.
Right. Yeah, and will be printed probably.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So Superman, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Justice League, Brian Michael Bendis, Teen Titans, Tim Sheridan. I think you got Stargirl from Jeff Johns, Green Lanterns from Jeffrey Thorne. Josh Williamson is not the main writer on The Flash, despite everyone assuming that would be the case because Williamson's done.
Right.
But he did have one more thing to say, and he did it with Infinite Frontier. And more. But yeah, so what's the direction? Where are we looking at here? Well, if you read Death Metal, and many of you did, it ended with Wonder Woman being like a big deal, like they always want her to be.
She's kind of a big deal.
She's kind of a big deal. She's the biggest female superhero in the entire industry, and that's why her books always get canceled. So she is invited to be part of the Quintessence, the Illuminati, the cosmic Illuminati of the DC universe.
Yeah.
And so we meet the Quintessence again.
This version of it.
And it's like, whoa, it's everybody. And they're like, yo, there's a lot of Wonder Women going around, so you can join the Quintessence. You've been around for a long time.
Right. Also, Hera's there. I don't know. She could give her a shout out. I don't know.
Yeah, she could pull a few strings. I mean, it's like
if she wants to.
Yeah, which I doubt. She's like, go back to the island. But no, the Quintessence invites her to be a member of the Quintessence, and she's like, wow, what an honor. And Sandman's like, yo, do you remember Kingdom Come when I took Norman and
Spectre.
The Spectre? Oh, I said Sandman. It's because I wanted it to be Sandman.
That was honestly really disappointing.
That there was no Endless whatsoever across the board from Death Metal to
honestly,
this.
there is always part of me that wants to protect them and keep them over there. But I was like, this is a moment that you could have it. This is a moment. This is definitely a moment. And
Scott took that moment.
Scott took that moment, and maybe that's why people are afraid to take that moment again.
I mean, how did you feel about Dream and Daniel Hall used in Dark Knight's Metal?
Well, because they didn't really follow up with anything. Then it was kind of oh.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a weirdly wasted opportunity. You had a chance to do this and you didn't really do anything with it. You just put him in there and he points you in the right direction. And honestly, in terms of knowing the Hall's connection, fine. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
It was almost like an afterthought. Oh yeah, that's right, Daniel Hall, right? It felt like that. Yeah. But I did like the inclusion of him because metatextually, Dark Knight's Metal was about story.
Yeah.
But anyway, Spectre's like, yo, I took Norman across the DC universe, showed him a bunch of snapshots. I'm gonna do that with you. Let's go.
So you're just like, hey, we're doing a Zero issue. It's written by a whole lot of people.
So we gotta go to all those books.
I'm the narrative device. Let's go.
Let's go. So the narrative device is Wonder Woman has to make sure all of her friends are gonna be fine without Wonder Woman.
She tells them that she's like, when I talk to the hands, so sorry. That they warned her about some great threat, the impending doom that she needs to watch out for, and they're like, what are you talking about?
Right, they're like, we didn't see a threat. Oh, there might have been and then they secretly are like, there was a threat, but we took care of it.
Yeah, but let's not tell her
Let's not tell her that. Not like we wouldn't have to tell her when she became the Quintessence, but whatever.
Spectre, why don't you go take her on a merry jaunt, and like let her check out the fact that like, no, see, there is no threat. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
And so then we check out the books.
Right, so check out the books. So we got Superman from Philip Kennedy Johnson, where apparently Rich Johnson's theory / leak about the renaming of Black Adam into Shazadam might have actually been accurate.
Yeah, there it is.
It's also
well, yes and no. Like, that's what they call him.
That's what they call him. Like will he be called that? Will he get a book called Shazadam? Who the hell knows? I'm hoping not, because I think that's the dumbest thing I've heard in like a few days.
I think if you need to rebrand, it's okay to do that, but like, I don't know. That sounds like a first idea.
That's a first idea.
I will say my biggest gripe about this book is how
little Superman is in it?
Everyone's face is so
the same?
It is very same, but everyone has clearly de-aged.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, we're doing this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Right.
But like that was what it was. Like our main characters are they look significantly younger.
Right. Well, we get an idea because we're not using this isn't the Superman book. This is more just Superman dealing with Shazadam. So we're seeing, or Black Adam, and we're seeing obviously some synergy between the movies because obviously, you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's gonna be Black Adam.
Yeah, this guy doesn't look anything like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, I'm glad though. I'm glad. Don't make him look like he should in the comics.
Well, it's not. Listen, if you're gonna do that with anyone, I think it's okay to do with The Rock. I guess, unless you're a big, you know, Black Adam fan, and then it's like you don't want that. That's not what he looks like.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But I will say, let's not even do the stories. Let's just So we looked at what Bendis had to say about Superman / Black Adam. Meh. We got James Tynion IV teasing Batman. This dovetails right into Batman 106.
I will say this story was tight.
This story, the Batman story?
This one, there was elements to it I really, really enjoyed, which is why I honestly didn't think Tynion had written it, even though I do like Tynion's work. I hadn't been digging it his Batman, and so like I assumed immediately that it was Ridley.
Right. But
no.
So, you know, we meet who's going to be whatever his name is, the guy from Future State, Citizen 01, or whatever the hell his name is. I don't remember.
Oh, is that
Peacekeeper 1? Yeah.
Oh.
It's not yet revealed that's Peacekeeper 1, but this is obviously going to be Peacekeeper 1.
Mahoney.
We find
we go on a whole ride with Mahoney.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even want to do. So we're not doing the story.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
A couple of points of order. Bane's dead. Mahoney's.
Bane's not just dead. He's Jokerized.
He's Jokerized and dead. Mahoney has lost his legs and arms. Who's Mahoney? A new character that was created for the story.
Yeah.
Of course, because James Tynion IV is writing it.
Yep.
We get 2 of those for the price of 1.
We do.
Grifter.
We see Grifter.
We see Tim Fox.
We get
Jace.
I was gonna say we get for me like goals because I really liked Batgirl or Barbara's outfit.
Yes,
I
love it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean it's simple but still whatevs. Grifter. Gotta get Grifter in there.
Gotta get Grifter in there because somebody really needs Grifter in this universe. Batman, obviously it's drawn by Jorge Jimenez. The Batman I'm on my way page is gorgeous.
It's so amazing.
So then Wonder Woman checks out the new Wonder Woman.
I freaking loved this, and I know we're not talking about story, but I just love that like she's like, oh, they're clearly having a little competition to see who's gonna be Wonder Woman. It's gonna be Nubia. Like she's like, I mean, it's obviously gonna be Nubia. Like why would they do that?
Right.
And Hippolyta does like a whole little thing, and like it's really cute the way she does it. But like the big change here is Hippolyta's actually leaving in place of Wonder Woman to investigate Yara, and Nubia is now the Queen of the Amazons.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of
cool. That's a cool idea.
I mean, I have a feeling that obviously like Nubia will be springing into action as as Wonder Woman.
Yep.
But like I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like that is dope.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless they're gonna do something like more based around the mascara and like her like defending
That'd be
the
cool.
island against
I'd be okay with that.
I don't know. I was like, that's neat.
Yeah. We saw the Yara Flor story, which of course Joel Jones or Joel Jones.
Yeah, I will say the art for the Wonder Woman book was okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I didn't find it egregious, but it didn't wow me.
It didn't wow me, and then I really liked Joel Jones' artwork, and they followed it up with that. I was like, oh.
Ooh, yeah. Best looking book.
Totally different feel, though.
Yeah,
totally
very different feel. So Yara Flor, and pre her becoming Wonder Woman, she's Wonder Girl in this universe, pre Future State. Setting her up, fun stuff. I enjoyed it. It's like 3 pages.
Yeah.
It
was adorable. It's
loved
but like it's that sort of like really well done script that those 3 pages give you a lot of like character development without hitting you over the head with it.
Totally. Plus, of course, like the lingering mystery.
I know. I love those girls.
Yeah, they're great. Then we move on. We've got the gals. We got the JSA update. Of course, Alan Scott is now gay. Nobody cares. Like,
sure.
I mean, I get people. I know people. I know they do. I couldn't care less. Good for him. For getting out of the closet.
And it was a sweet moment between
family. Yeah, exactly. I liked I loved the way in which the characters interacted.
Yeah,
it was like very genuine and true.
Yeah, and he's going off to do something.
Yeah,
like he's gonna go watch over something.
Knock yourself out. Then we go with the Titans. The Titans go to, Titans Tower, which is like cool looking,
and has like a John Woo problem.
Yeah, a lot of doves. Maybe they're seagulls. In any case, I couldn't care less about that.
You know what it was for that one? There wasn't a whole
lot of character.
It was like a lot of super amazing looking images, like
which does look
art
great.
The art was spectacular.
Yeah, but
there wasn't enough to like really like drive me to like
like why do I care?
Wonder like where is this going necessarily? Like I was just like I really like looking at this.
Yeah,
like I think this is very like pretty and like. It's cool to see a new generation, but like the way in which also the book kind of moved past it because it was so short, I was like, you're not really making me want to linger here either right now. So,
we got Superman. I don't know. John Kent is Doom.
Yeah. By the way, if you thought that John Kent was going to be
aged down
or like somehow not dragged through the mud even more,
well,
sorry,
buckle up.
But like he does redeem himself. I thought that story was actually pretty cute.
It was cute, but like the implication made me not enjoy it.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like here's what I liked. I like Wonder Woman got one over on the Spectre. She was like, yeah, but
right. He's like, fine.
And I thought his solution, I thought that was adorable.
I agree.
Like that it was just lost. As a baby. I was like, cute.
Very Star Trek.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. Also, Green Arrow and Black Canary.
The art for this, I loved it.
Of course you did.
Oh my god, I loved this.
But you got to see Green Arrow and Black Canary interact with, which was wonderful. You got Roy Harper. He's back. Yeah. He doesn't call Jason, which kind of like is surprising.
Well, I think he might be calling and hanging up on people.
I think that's exactly.
I mean, he does it here.
Yeah, that sounds pretty par for the course with Roy Harper.
Yeah, I also just honestly enjoyed, him at the gas station.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, hey, yeah, it's me. I'm alive.
What do I do about that? It's like, dude, that's happened so many freaking times.
Right, but like, he's on this end of it. He's like, I don't want to do that.
That's true.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
Who wants to have an awkward conversation?
Yeah. I'm glad he found his hat. Stargirl, it's cute, it's fun. It has like that Todd Naukian art, which feels like a Spider-Man like year 1 story.
This was the book that didn't quite fit in.
No, it doesn't fit
to
in
the
any
rest
way.
of the books in terms of tone.
Yeah. It's a Marvel book in a DC anthology.
It is, but like also, I mean, maybe at the end there potentially is something that's more like darker or sinister.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. But this had such a different feel.
Yep, totally different feel. It was very bizarre. I enjoyed it, but it was also like, what? Like it was maybe the last thing you should have put in there, but
right.
Especially because it broke up the Batman story that like
everything broke up the Batman.
Remember story. Batman? We got more of that story you were reading. Oh, we do? Yeah, we do. I could not care less. The art is so great, but I was done with the Magistrate when it started, and we're setting it up even more. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm glad I've dropped this book.
Well, honestly, Wonder Woman, they very much state at the beginning that like Future State was kind of her journey.
Yeah.
And that like she saw all of these things and they were all potential futures.
Yes.
Which to me says like with Yara, potential futures depending on how they sold. And but like possibly with Batman, and the reason why that one was so fleshed out and so connected was because they were going ahead with that no matter what.
That was gonna happen.
Like there's just certain elements that no matter what, and so like they didn't mind having all of the books there like
Connect.
feed into one another and
Yeah.
like really like explain to you what the Magistrate was all about.
Right.
Because they're like, yeah, but we are gonna do that.
Right. But we're still gonna do that though.
However, they could obviously like just pull the rug right out from under us and
Mhm.
like take it a totally different way, or like we don't actually make it to that. Like
Right.
this is the time that like in this universe, Batman stops it,
and that
Like,
would be
Batman
very
and his friend.
That'd be so triumphant, and I'd be okay with that. That would make me go back and pick up the trade. But for now, I'm off the ride, especially because we have yet another new villain created by James Tynion IV.
He likes birds,
Dude, you're gonna get your McFarlane figure. I promise you. You don't need to keep throwing things at the wall. Because your new figure is going to be Scarecrow, a character you didn't create. And here he is, and he looks like an idiot. I loathe this. It is so complicated. It is just, it's a hat on a hat. It is just, it's everything. It's every idea. Give me every idea you've had for Scarecrow over the last 10 years.
Admittedly,
He would trip over those fucking things in a heartbeat.
Well, he's not supposed to move much. Admittedly speaking, if I saw this in anywhere, I 100% would be like, I have to leave
He's scary.
now.
Granted.
Seeing this in real life,
Yeah.
when conventions come back and people decide they want to dress up like this,
They will.
I'm not going to take a photo with
He's
them.
going to be scary.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So admittedly, they nailed that.
Success.
Like it's an uncomfortable looking image.
It is a weird
It is
design.
uncomfortable, although for a couple of different reasons. One, I mean, obviously there are things that like make you uncomfortable to begin with.
Needles.
You can't see his face.
Yeah. Yeah, that creepy mask that like never should have been invented in the first place, but for whatever reason, like we carried on. Yeah.
Sure. So there's like a lot of imagery
He's
here.
got a bird's nest on his head.
Yeah. However, the other part of it that I'm not a fan of is just how much there is.
There's a lot going
There's
on.
a lot of elements, and so like woe onto the artist who has to draw this in any sort of action that isn't sitting.
Oh my god. That reminds me of like when they redesigned Iron Man's outfit and they gave him all those stupid ass lights like all over him, and I'm just thinking of the artist being like, he's got to remember all those circles. He's got to draw all over Iron Man. The colors got to be like, oh yeah, there's light coming out of everything. I'm gonna screw the light source. It's just him.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot to ask.
If you asked Tim Gunn to critique this, he'd be like, "That's a lot of look.
It's a lot of look. It worries
me. This worries me. You can't
look at this. I just want to like look like from. You got the mask. Okay, cool. You got the whatever, like crow type wing hair. Okay, I guess Crane has that. You got the bird's nest on the head. Makes me think of Radagast, which nobody wants to think of that. You got his weird tattered robes. Okay, right on. But you got the gloves. They're not full arm gloves. Those are like little hand gloves for his little needle thingies, which each have their own tube. They have vials. Maybe he has to reload them every time, but no, because he's got the pipes. He's got the rope, like boots.
There's a lot of this that I do enjoy. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's just a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, honestly though, like the silhouette for this,
it's gonna be cool.
Is dope. Like if you were to just completely make this one color, it's a cool silhouette.
Yes.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, that's true. We have a Green Lantern story that highlights like all the Green Lanterns that are probably going to show up in the book, which is fun. We also finally get like some, not justice, because like Teen Lantern was around, but like some acknowledgement. Hey, Teen Lantern, you're in.
You have to also like, we have to acknowledge you, and
right.
like people need to figure this out and be like, what?
Right.
Which luckily, like if you didn't know what was going on with that character, John helps us along the way with that. Which yay, John.
Right.
Because I like him.
Yeah. Barry's leaving, which like good riddance. But he's not going to leave the universe without a Flash. He's gonna be replacing himself with Wally, so now things can get back to the way they were in 1986.
Barry, you're out. Wally, you're in.
But now you've killed people. Yay! I love that Wally is...
No one will remember that.
No one will remember that. I promise you. Except that everyone does remember everything.
Yeah, I know.
And everything did happen. But I'm this status quo, it's where it's like it took like 11 years to fix a problem that no one asked for. Like, you know what I mean? Wally was Flash. No one was complaining about that. No one. Mm-hmm. And then Jeff Johns is like, I didn't like that. I want Barry. So he got Barry back. And like forced him to become so synonymous with the DC Pantheon that to get rid of him would be a mistake. So what do you do with Wally? And because like the writer at the time didn't care about Wally and wanted to like try something else, created a different Wally, like it just became a big monster of like a problem. And now it's like, I love this status quo for Barry because it's like, okay, you know what? Stick him in the stick him in time, whatever. But make him a cosmic hero. He's always been that.
Yeah.
He died fighting a gun wielded by the Anti-Monitor. Like, make him a cosmic hero. You have too many people who can go fast, and that's their whole shtick anyway. Make Wally Flash. And you know what? Now that you've like screwed him, like he's got a redemptive arc. Like, as opposed to Wally's arc from 86 to 2011, which was, will I ever be able to fill Barry's shoes? Well, you did for a good 15 years.
Right.
But now it's, will I ever be able to outrun Heroes in Crisis?
Yeah.
The answer is yeah, obviously. But like, now it's in a weird place where people, you know, for a long time, nobody cared because nobody knew Barry. But now people have had Barry, and now you have to differentiate between Barry and Wally. And Williamson set this up, but he's not writing it. So whoever's writing it is going to have to care.
Right. Is this the art for the book going forward?
This is just Howard Porter has worked with Williamson a number of times.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Howard Porter fan.
I'm not either, honestly. There's just a couple of like too many inconsistencies, especially in certain faces and certain anatomical decisions.
Yep.
That said, I don't know who's coloring this book, but I actually really like it.
I do too.
Like, it really fits the tone of the Flash in my head.
Agreed.
Like, not like so comic booky that it's like childish, but like bright and colorful and hopeful.
Yes.
And I love the effect of them running.
Totally.
Like, that coloring effect, I think is dope.
I agree. And then, of course, Wonder Woman's like, yeah, see? Everybody's good. Inspector's like, fair enough. So are you joining? And she's like, no. I'm going to do my own thing.
I'm going to put on my Lady Sif costume.
Yeah, that is just straight up Lady Sif, ain't
It's not exactly that. Listen.
No.
She's wearing red and armor and has fur. Obviously, I'm going to make that connection.
Yeah, but
also, she has
cool.
a sword.
Yeah, and sword.
And she looks cool. And she does a little spin and she has little braids. It's very Viking, okay? Yep. I'm sorry.
I dig it. I'm okay with that outfit. I'm okay with her being like, I am going to need to be in DC events from now on. So I can't join the quintessence every time.
Yeah.
Also, look at everybody. We all stand for a photo nobody took.
Except they did. It's drawn.
That's
here it
true.
is. And here are a bunch of characters that weren't even in this book.
Yeah. Woo,
I was happy to
Hawk
see Steele's there.
Yeah, what? Steele? Yay,
he's up in the corner.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I agree.
Oh, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Harley Quinn didn't get a story, which was kind of amazing.
She was in a panel.
That's right.
Of the Batman story, Frosting a Cake.
That's right. Thank you.
It was nicely drawn. I remember it very distinctly.
Oh, they also mentioned the
because the epilogue's also written by Williamson.
Yes, of course, because he's setting up.
Well, because that's where Barry's going.
Yeah.
He's being sent off to go investigate that planet.
Yeah, the two planets. We got Elseworld and Earth Omega.
Yeah, and I think he's going to go look at Earth Omega because they don't know how to classify it.
Right. Well, we'll see how they're going to be able to...
Wait, is it Earth Omega that he's going to go look at, or is it something else?
I think it is.
I don't remember. Superman says it to him.
Oh, Superman says it?
No, go this way. It's in here. It's not that Superman.
Val Zod.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's President Superman.
Or President Superman, sorry, not Val. Not Val.
If that's
Earth Zero.
Earth Zero. Listen.
Oh no, he's just saying Earth Zero looks stable. That's where we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe he doesn't say it to him. But I thought that's where he was going. Regardless.
Yes.
That's not the point. The point is there's like a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
post-credit scene. There's literally a post-credit
scene that messes blows the doors off this entire thing, where the quintessence are like, we defeated the great evil or whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the quintessence is killed.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
The Phantom Stranger. Everyone dies. Actually, I don't think they kill the Phantom Stranger. Nope, yep, they do.
No, they do. The Spectre. You think they're gonna like not kill the Spectre and the Phantom Stranger?
Yeah, see how they like, whoa.
Completely kill. Yeah, the two of them are like, what?
What? Ugh. And then they die. And who are they killed by? Friggin' Darkseid.
I'm back, baby.
I'm back.
I'm tired of not being in charge of being the bad guy of things.
Yeah, I'm tired of being like second fiddle to the freaking Batman who laughs. So now I'm back. And like they kind of screwed up with what's it called? Darkseid.
Yeah.
Where it's like Darkseid is like Apocalypse, which exists outside the multiverse. So he's immune to continuities and crises, except he wasn't, because New 52 rebooted him and made him an idiot. And then they never really fixed it. And then they killed him again.
Right.
And so it was like, he was a complicated mess too. So he's like, all the dark sides have coalesced into me. I'm prime dark side, where I'm all the dark sides ever.
He's the alpha and the omega of dark sides.
Yeah.
He's the beginning and the ending of all of them, I suppose.
Fine. I like that status quo. Also, like, not a big fan of Vermita Jr. anymore, but I like that they picked him because they wanted to evoke that kind of Kirby look.
Yes, that's exactly. I was like, there's no way this isn't
just.
That's why I had to go back and look.
Kirby!
Well, because like Raphael Grandpa also drew something, and like I love his art. I do like his art quite a bit, and I was like, it's not him, right? He's not trying to approximate Romita here, because I know
just get Romita.
He has his own style, and I very much enjoy it when it's used appropriately.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is just Romita with Klaus Janson on inks, which is why I think it's more successful than we've seen Romita be, because I think Janson gets his art and knows how to ink it.
Well, Janson used to be Miller's inker and worked with Romita on like a ton of shit, including the stuff you love, like his Punisher run.
Right.
So yeah.
So, but like honestly, like as ridiculous as he kind of looks, like I do love it, and like they do a like kind of like modern take on the Kirby Crackle. Like it's not quite the Kirby Crackle that we're used to seeing, but like it evokes that feeling, and then when you tie it in with like the Romita art, it's like, yeah, you're definitely trying to evoke like that like Kirby nostalgia.
Not only that, but you also get like a kind of modern version of his costume. Like it's he's not got a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Darkseid does, like Superman. Like Darkseid and Superman are very simple in terms of costume design. Their armor is their skin. So, like, they can wear cloth. You know, Batman's got to wear armor. So, like, even though I hate it, like, you can put the piping and crap all over him. Because he's also got, like, 17,000 different costumes. But with Darkseid and Superman, it's just have him wear cloth. You know, we're not getting a tunic, but that's fine.
He doesn't need it.
This is better. It's better than it has been for a long time.
Right. That way, like, if he gets blasted by something, you could be like, oh, and it's it's just torn off.
Yeah.
But, like, he's fine.
Exactly. Like Superman. Like Spider-Man. When you get to see the mask torn, it's like, oh, now shit's going down. Like, it's cool. But I like that. So anyway, that's the big.
But the quintessence are seemingly dead, or maybe not,
or they're in him. Who knows? I don't want to speculate.
Or they're incapacitated.
Right,
I don't know.
They seem dead. He says die, and then he steps on Spectre's neck. So like they're dead. I don't know, but like it seems like they're dead. But that's that. So Infinite Frontier. The question I have for you is not necessarily like what you didn't like. Is how do you like this as the launch pad for the new direction for DC? Like, because this is what I think this is their way of being like, boom, mic drop. This is DC going forward.
So
that is my review to a T, and I think that's really like I want you to continue. I just think that's so perfect because that's exactly what it is.
So I honestly was thinking about this today, and I had this moment of like, there is something to be said about feeling some sort of level of comfort, regardless of if like your favorite character maybe isn't part of this or isn't the version that you want right now. Like, let's say you're like a hardcore Barry fan, you're like, I don't want Wally.
Right.
There is, I still think, something comforting about the fact that like this is DC saying this is how it's going to be for a bit.
Yeah.
As opposed to being in the middle of a like huge event that's like not letting anything else happen, and then being in the middle of something that you know is temporary,
right?
Until we can get to the next thing, and so we're finally here to the next thing, and there's something nice about that. Like I feel like we've landed, regardless of how you feel about
your destination,
or like the next steps in front of me. I've landed.
Right,
and
we're here.
I'm
now.
very thankful.
Yeah.
That I'm here right now.
And that they're trying a direction. It's not just like, what do you think?
Yeah.
What about this?
Right.
Like, no, this is the direction.
Some of these books I'm honestly like legitimately interested in.
Yeah.
Like some of these stories I'm looking forward to seeing where their creative teams take them. Some of the other stories maybe a little
not so
less
much.
so.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I won't try them, because I don't want to not try new things.
I agree.
Just because I'm like, oh, I don't think it's going to necessarily go another place.
It seems new and scary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
I mean, we already have experienced a little bit of just like exhaustion from some of what was going on with Batman.
It's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to give it a try again. Obviously, I didn't read Batman this week.
106, yeah.
And here's why. Because I'm an idiot who was like, well, Ridley's going to take over. I'm not going to read the Tynion one right now, even though literally the logo for Infinite Frontier is on the upper left-hand corner, and it talks about everything that's going to be leading up. I just didn't read it.
Right.
And I'm like, oops, oh well. But now that I know it's Tynion, it's a little harder for me to jump in, even though, again, you know me. I like Tynion, but I like Tynion on certain books. That doesn't mean I'm going to buy every single thing that he writes.
No.
You know, it'll be interesting to see Justice League going forward.
Yeah, Bendis' Justice League.
That'll be something. That'll be something. I don't know what that's going to be. Yeah. That will be something.
I will read that.
I'm kind of honestly excited for hopefully some new ideas being pushed into Wonder Woman.
Yes.
I like Wonder Woman very much. I like Diana. I like some of her stories. I like them, of course, when they're a little more mythological.
Sure.
Which I think Yara for me checks those boxes when we're seeing her in Future State. So I'm definitely interested in that. I'd like to see Nubia as Queen. Like, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, just to see what her journey is going to be for a little bit. There's also something to be said about like that ground floor.
Yeah.
Not that some of these characters haven't had history. Nubia has history. Yara Flor doesn't.
Right.
I don't know. That's just like, there's just something for me that I'm like, okay, this is it for a bit. Cool.
Right. Good. I'm glad we finally, like you said, landed. That's exactly right.
There's just something good about that. Like that. Like I don't feel like it's like every like, you know, couple of weeks is going to be upheaval. And I think that just comes from going from a massive event to a mini event.
Right.
Because don't forget,
Infinite Frontier is also an event.
No.
Oh, Future State.
I was thinking the winter one.
Oh, God. Endless Winter. Yes.
Endless Winter to Future State, which is like a stopgap of stories that may or may not mean anything, except that some of the characters get to progress and have other stories told about them, to finally being like, okay, this is like new rebirth.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah. Rebirth.
But we'll see how long it lasts.
Not long.
You think so?
No.
Okay. But well, like
the thing is, there's nothing here that can't be wrapped up in a week.
Oh, sure.
Or needs like expansion.
Right.
So like Infinite Frontier could literally be 2 months. It's not going to be. I know this I have good authority. Josh Williamson's talked to us a number of times. And he said it's like some things are going to be answered right away and other things are going to be like long reaching. But like Rebirth was like Dr. effing Manhattan. Time was stolen. There was a mystery afoot. Yeah, we are going to have a resolution.
Yep, we got to figure this out.
Yep.
But
this is just, here's some stuff, I don't know.
Right, but the company's moving forward with the idea that this is going to last for a bit.
Yes.
And like there's something, like I said, comforting. That's like the word. I'm like, there's something regardless of how you feel about it. Like I'm like, okay, cool. I may not agree with all of your decisions. No. I may not agree with the stories you end up telling. I don't know yet.
Right.
But like at least hey,
but at least
you're doing it.
You have a plan. You're executing it exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. You're treating it like a friggin' company running a comic book store.
Here we go.
Kevin Kruger says, Tiffany, have you ever seen the Marvel Mego commercials from 1970s? They're crazy.
No, but now that you've said that out loud, I bet YouTube recommends that to me later on. That's how I see like retro commercials usually. So,
Crimson Comet. Oh, sorry. Crimson Comet 98. Also, I've been a long time fan of you. But I did want to know, where did the Move the Car George come from? It's up on Urban Dictionary. Just look it up there. Yeah, thank you. I love that. It's from the Spider-Man Clone Genesis.
Yes.
Watch that episode. King's Portical. We need black artists, writers to do what Image did. I agree with that. That's fair.
No, absolutely.
They need to get the job, and so we need, we need editorial to be like more willing and open to do that.
Yeah, and then they also need to be supported, though.
Yeah. The Star 361. I dug Infinite Frontier. It's legitimately got interested in DC again. Wally back as Flash could be awesome. Hype for the pencil. Also Grifter. Yep, that's right.
You can't escape Grifter.
Nope.
You throw a rock, Grifter's there.
Yep, to catch it. Joshua Mayhead with an adorable gif saying we're number one, or he's number one. I don't know, but either way, it's adorable.
Maybe the Sheba is number one.
Yeah. King's Portical recently bought Batman Black and White 1. Thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, no problem.
I heard good things about that too. After you had already recommended it.
It was fun.
Rab L, another adorable Sheba. Thank you very much for the Shebas. Authentic Apathy. Roy should have called Jason. He's literally the only person who would understand Roy's situation. Agreed. In fact, I'm going to pitch it Red Hood and Red Arrow, or Red Hood and Arsenal book.
Well, maybe that's why he hung up. He was like, why am I calling?
Yeah, when else go to his house and hang out.
Well, no, like, why am I calling Ollie? That's not who I should be calling. Maybe that's where he's going.
Except Ollie did die too. He should know.
I think it was honest. Let's be honest, guys. That him calling Ollie was an excuse to show us Ollie and Dinah together.
Yes.
Like that's what that was. It was an excuse to show, like, hey, look, they're back.
Yeah, we don't need to see where Jason's going to be. He's getting his own book with Jip Zdarsky.
But that doesn't mean that that's like going to be Roy's journey is to get back with Ollie, which at some point I'm sure he will. But I assume that was just an excuse.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just some guy with a mustache. Cigar Car looks like the guy in the RPG who only cares about the equipment stats and not how they look.
This is my ass kicking outfit, bitch.
That's right. Forget Me Not, I found Wally because Justice League the animated series, but since Barry has been the status quo for a while now, and now that he's not, I don't care about the Flash at all anymore. Fair enough. And Andre Didier says John Romita Jr. is so washed. I don't know what that means.
It means exhausted, tired, done.
Well, I can't disagree. We also read Berserker. There's a book with no vowels.
Read or just kind of looked at because...
Yeah, right, because that's all you need to do.
No, I read it.
Yeah, I did read this. Berserker.
I read it because you told me to read it.
Yeah, I did.
You're like, so we could talk about it. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent, Ron Garney. Old man fights people. Have you ever read Bloodshot? It's Bloodshot.
It's like more the Eternal Warrior.
It is the Eternal Warrior meets I was thinking like it's the action and the like unkillableness of Bloodshot, where it's like, you know, like I regrow.
It's Matt. It's not Matt. It's Keanu Reeves being like, we can make this movie.
Yeah,
this guy's older. I'm this guy.
Right.
I could be this guy.
Yeah,
I could be
draw
this
me
guy right now.
There's a movie pitch in a comic book form. It's a storyboard. It's so obvious and so like desperate. I hate everything about it. Like the art's great, the action is terrific, and I love this as a storyboard. It's a terrific action sequence that is a book. And honestly, like literally, if they'd said like this is Bloodshot, I'd be like, oh, you fucking figured it out. But like this is just like from the like vowel-less title to the drawing Keanu Reeves to the like hostage video-esque Keanu Reeves video that he made. I don't know if you saw it, but like he did this promo video for Boom.
No.
And it's like one take Reeves, man. He sits in this chair, he reads the thing. They left every second of that interview where he's like, here's the lines that I'm reading right now. And here's the next paragraph of the lines I'm reading right now. I'm like, you're an actor, man. Like you're not gonna give it a little oomph. Like your name's on this. People think you wrote this. You didn't, but like people think you do. And I know, like, you know, comic book fans are like, no, but like, no, they do. Like people think Keanu Reeves came up with this idea and wrote it. And it's like, your name's all over this, dude. You could like try a little harder. I mean, like let's talk about the good. The good is one of the highest profile actors of the 20th century is selling comic books.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. To an independent company. Ding again. There's a lot of like and those good outweigh all the criticism. Like for me, it's like, is this flagrant? Is this pathetically like desperate to be like, from the Eisner Award-winning comic book series from Boom Studios comes this movie. Like, yeah, duh. But Keanu Reeves is selling comic books. Yeah. Keanu Reeves is holding more fucking comic books in his hands than Robert Downey Jr. ever did. For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. Like, but also I don't have to buy it. And I'm not going to.
Right.
I'll see the movie, thanks.
Yeah, this book is if you like hyperviolence, this is an exceptionally violent book.
I think it's violent.
It has violent
Yeah, there's
images.
like eyeballs like shooting out and stuff like that.
It's not like there's violence on every single page, and it's not like it's like a
a gore fest. I've seen those.
But like when there is violence, it is
gratuitous.
It is a gratuitously violent book.
Yeah, but in a fun way. You know, like
if you like that kind of thing. Not everyone's looking for that in their comic book.
No, that's true.
The story is what it is.
Yep.
There, you kind of feel like you already know where this is all going.
I've seen it 1,000 times. Like
it's just
like literally, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times. I mean, good for them. Like, but again, that's cool, and I would love for that to help.
Listen, if even a few people go to a comic book store because they like Keanu Reeves that much to pick up this book, and then the comic book retailer is able to go like, if you like this, there's a couple of other things maybe you want to try.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like,
if it makes fans out of it, I don't care.
Or even if it like helps those people to just be normalized to the idea of a comic book store, like that has a lot of power too.
Agreed.
So I don't know.
So cool. At the end of the day, it's harmless.
Sure.
It's just also like, It is cowboys and aliens, but at least it looks cool.
Right?
And I'm not saying Cowboys and Aliens, the movie didn't look cool, but that comic book looks like fucking garbage. Because it is. So yeah, also...
Oh, I was going to say, I've got 2 more books. Just
great. Mustafa Siddiqui says, most annoying thing about Tynan's Batman run is that his Detective Comics run from Rebirth was better when he dealt with existing characters. He loves those characters.
I think he's... All right, so here's something, like, because Batman, obviously, there is something to be said about Batman being a team book at this point, even though it is about Batman. But Detective is definitely a team book.
Totally.
And so is Justice League Dark.
Yes.
And that's also well done.
Yes, it is.
Like, I think there's something to be said for his team books where he knows he has to manage a team as opposed to knowing that a character is the
focal point.
The focal point, and then, like, there are, like, ancillary characters as well. I think that might have something to do with it.
That's fair. What do you got?
I read Infinite Frontier #1, Swamp Thing.
Hey, Ramviz.
Ramvi's Swamp Thing with art by, I think it's Mike Perkins.
Okay.
We said Matt now, so now my brain's like, is that what
No, it's Mike.
It's Mike. I will give you a heads up, younger viewers. This book is for ages 13+. It says it on the front of the cover.
I know we just got through being like, oh, gratuitous violence.
No, but this one, DC give you a heads up. Like, hey, this is really for people 13+, because it leans a little more into horror for sure.
Right.
We literally, it starts with a murder, and, like, we get, like, this explanation of a specific style of worm and how it, like, goes from larva to fly. Not worm, sorry. Larva grub kind of thing into a fly as a means of, like, IDing when a person died.
Oh.
And so, like, that's page 1. They're like, hi, kids. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not for you.
Not for you. This book, Ram V is establishing a different Swamp Thing.
Oh.
We don't know how. We don't know why yet, and that's part of the mystery of this book.
Okay. 10-issue series, by the way.
I'm kind of excited for this. Like, this was a very, like, solid issue with, like, some really sweet art. There were times I wish the coloring was a little less saturated, but I get it. It's a comic book. It's not really a gripe. There's just, like, that was a wish list item.
I see what you're talking about. It's not a Vertigo book.
Well, kind of, but, like, you know what it is too. Don't forget, I'm looking at it digitally. Maybe, like, on paper, it's a little different. Your digital versus paper, like, very experience different. Are going to be very different from one another.
Yeah.
This book also establishes a new villain, the Pale Wanderer. I want to say is his name. I have to really think about that because naturally my brain wants to call them the Pale Rider. Yeah. Which is not what they are. Which we'll find out, I guess, at some point whether or not they're part of any sort of the green, any of those. Yeah. We don't know yet. Okay. They are a person from the Civil War, seemingly. I don't know I don't remember if they indicated which side necessarily. But we get their story, like, about how they wandered off into the desert for, like, various reasons to find, like, quiet and, like, solitude and that sort of thing, and like did odd and ends jobs, and then eventually, the economy took a turn, right? And seemingly that person wandered off into, like, the desert and found something else. Okay. And, like, the next time they're seen is, like, when it's, like, there will be blood, people, like, pumping oil out of the ground. And, like, that individual, that creature is found guzzling crude oil. Oh, cool. And, like, it's like a horrific looking image, which is, beyond dope. And I really had a good time. But you can see why they're not really trying to make this for kids under 13. Totally, yeah. That's awesome. But, like, seemingly... like, our Swamp Thing doesn't necessarily even know that they're Swamp Thing. They are, I'm not sure if they were, no, I think they're an immigrant from India who came to the States. I think that's kind of, they didn't really get into the, like, precise timeline details there. Right. But they recently had gone back to kind of, patch things up with their dad, and I think their dad passed. But they're missing some time while they were there. They can't quite remember it. Okay. Certain things, they're like, I remember this, I remember that, and, like, they have a brother, and the brother was preferred because he didn't leave. Right. And he's like, I remember my brother, like, maybe going out into the woods and making a deal. Yeah. And then, like, he's on a plane going back, and, like, he seemingly Swamp Things out and, like, destroys the plane kind of thing. Okay. And then he wakes up, and it was in his dreams. But it's what it wasn't really. We don't know, because, like, then later on, like, he has another dream where he ends up in the desert with this guy, with the Pale Wanderer, who's actually about to kill, like, the sheriff. The sheriff's like, or the Pale Wanderer's like, you can go. I'm gonna deal with this. What are you?
Right.
That's cool. And
Yeah,
he's just like,
yeah.
I'm gonna teach you a couple lessons so that you understand things, and if you're strong enough, you'll come back. And so like he seemingly kills Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing wakes up as the guy.
Right.
So I'm like, this is cool. This is Ramby setting up something new that fits completely, I think, in the tone and feel of Swamp Thing. We get that horror, we get that body horror, we get a little bit more leaning towards like a mature adult comic with like, you know, we start off with like a murder and we're just investigating it, you know, again, the like flesh-eating style, like, you know, imagery. There's a moment when the doctor is describing the body he's looking at. He's like, I really want to say that these wounds were made by a human mouth, except all the teeth are in the wrong place.
Oh.
And I was like,
what does that mean?
But like, that's a conceptual horror.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
as like an adult who's thinking about that, you're like,
Oh,
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yay, good.
And Ramby, of course, setting up like a mystery for this. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Sure.
This is going to be a pickup for me for sure. It read super quick. It is, I counted the pages to make sure it is about 21 pages. So it's normal length. It was just tight.
Okay.
So that's that. Oh, the other thing I read this week was I was so excited to get this, even though it was $5. Marvel put out Demon Days X-Men by Peach Momoko. It's just story and art, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just a gorgeous, gorgeous looking book. Very much like in in the sort of idea of like a 1602 or those books that they did, not the
Five Ronin.
Not the Five Ronin ones. There were some other ones they did. I've got like a Spider-Man one somewhere.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you know, Spider-Man in like Japan kind of thing. Not like the show, but like, you know, feudal kind of era.
Right.
There. That's kind of what this is.
Okay.
Where it's
Marvel in feudal Japan.
Yeah, sort of. It's obviously a more fantastic version of it.
Sure.
Think maybe a little more like old school manga, a little Ghibli in there.
Oh.
This I tweeted this out, but like this book felt like I found like an old manga, even though it's colorized completely.
Right. That's awesome.
But they established these rules where it's like, you know, long ago there was like humans and yokai and they lived in peace with one another up until the humans started like expanding and didn't realize what they were doing would like dehome the yokai and make them upset with them, and like the yokai have nowhere to turn to get food except for like attacking human villages and like stealing food and possibly killing people, right? Sure. And so you're like, okay, cool, got it, whatever. And so like we find one such village who is like a bunch of the town is like hiding in one location because there is like an oni outside eating their vegetables.
Okay.
And you immediately know who it is and you're like, cool. All right, that's fun.
That's awesome.
And you know, that Oni is driven off by a little girl who's like got a bow and arrow, and she's like, get out. We run into our main character who is known as Psy, because it's Psylocke,
right?
And her wolf Logan. And she offers her help with dealing with their Oni problem, but that's gonna be put on hold because a larger like yokai has arisen again. They have a frequent problem in this village, in their temple, in which I think it's Orochi will show up. They also call it Venom.
Right. He's on the cover too.
Yeah.
But he looks great.
It is honestly so awesome. Spectacular looking.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And so they have a solution which they will like drive this enemy, this demon away. Okay. And meanwhile, Sai is going to go deal with the Oni, and the Oni is naturally the Hulk. Right. It's Red Hulk though.
Oh.
Because it just
because red also means different things.
It also like has a more of a connection to like certain yokai.
Gotcha.
He has a baby, like a Hulk baby.
Yeah, what's he gonna do with that Hulk baby?
Well, he needs to.
It looks like Abomination.
He needs to get food for it.
Okay.
Like that's the thing, and like Sai's used to talking to Oni and like to yokai and like trying to communicate with them instead of just fighting them. Yeah. She's like, that's all you have to do. Is just talk to them. You guys have to find that balance again.
Right.
But I'm not gonna like tell you the whole story. It's just it's for me. This is stunning to look at. I loved every page of this book. The end is cool because it leads right into the next issue, and I'm like, I don't know where this series is going.
Right.
Because it doesn't end necessarily where I thought we were going to end, and in the time that I thought we were going to end.
Right.
So I'm just honestly looking forward to it. It's like a fun little breath of fresh air in terms of not worrying about continuity, where something fits in, who this character is, except for like fun reasons and like what, you know, when you're thinking about X-Men right now, like everything that happens in X-Men, you're like, wait, is this Hickman saying something? Is this Hickman telling that person to put this character in there so he can use it later on for some grand scheme? This is just a fun, lighthearted book. It is $5. It is an investment.
Because you're paying for them to take the risk of putting out a book that is only for a small percentage.
Yeah. So, like I said, I bought this digitally. I'm not gonna lie. If I get a chance, I will spend another $5 to buy it physical because I just loved looking at it.
Right.
I liked the story. I thought it was super fun, but like, I really liked looking at it.
Yeah. That's dope. Is that everything you've read?
That's it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about
she's got.
WandaVision in just a second. I wanted to mention the Dan V900 says, I think one of the most shocking things, DC, is that we still have no idea what Mark Waid is going to do. Everyone assumed he would be on Superman, which didn't happen. I just don't know. From what I understand, he's very busy and is only has the time to do mini stories, like backups and stuff. So I wouldn't look for Mark Waid on any headlining books.
Busy?
Yeah. He's editing, he's like a publisher and does other things. Matthew Lane says, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who thought Demon Days art looked like Ghibli.
No, for sure. You get those vibes 100%. Especially with the way in which Momoko puts together the art and the coloring style.
Yeah. So WandaVision ended, and I'm gonna call it the series finale. They might do a sequel because Mandalorian could have ended in one season and they were like, I made fucking money and people subscribed. And you could do another season of WandaVision. Spoilers from here on out about WandaVision.
Wait, do you want to do that or do you want to do recommends then if we're giving spoilers here?
Yeah, I guess all right. We'll recommend. So all right, let's shoot out some books. Amazing Spider-Man 61 comes out, the debut of the new costume. You had a theory about the costume. What was it? Regarding Sony and PlayStation?
Oh, they were like, we want to have our own costume in the next Spider-Man game.
Dan Slott has 3 or 4 of those friggin' things. Where's mine? Here it is, and it looks like it's gonna look great on the PlayStation 5. I'm not buying it. I just wanted to make fun of it for a minute.
Fair enough.
But Nonstop Spider-Man #1 is coming out from Joe Kelly and Dale Eaglesham. I love Dale's work. I love Joe Kelly's work on Spider-Man. If you've read Spider-Man and Deadpool, this is a must pick up. I've been hearing about this book forever. I'm glad it's finally coming out. Nonstop Spider-Man. Hate the title. I can't wait to buy it. Check it out. Nonstop Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Batman Urban Legends #1. This is the book where you're going to get the Zdarsky Batman Red Hood team-up book. It's also going to have 3 other stories. There's Red Hood, Grifter, because Grifter! Harley Quinn and Outsiders Part 1. If you are sick of Tynan's Batman like I am, this is going to be my Batman book from now on.
There's literally one other character name on there, and you just wouldn't say my favorite.
Red Hood, Grifter, Harley Quinn, Outsiders.
I was here.
Oh, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are teaming up. Yay.
It's
Daredevil 28. Obviously, if you have dropped off this book, you must pick it up. Daredevil is a great book, and it's consistently excellent from beginning to end. And of course, if I'm just going to throw out a little shout out, Benny the Comic Story and my friend and partner at Absolute Comics has done a backup in Bloodshot #12. Check it out.
Right.
What do you got?
I'm going to give a shout out to Deadpool's Nerdy 30 #1 coming out by a lot of folk.
Yes.
A lot of folk are part of this. So I'm going to guess it's a whole bunch of little stories.
It's literally everybody, I think, who's written for Deadpool except for Joe Kelly.
Oh.
Gail Simone, Nizieza, Jared Duggan,
I'm sure they missed
Posehn,
a couple of people, I'm sure.
Rob Liefeld,
I'm sure.
and Kelly Thompson.
This is a 44-page book that'll cost you about $6, so up to you on that one. Strange Academy #9 is coming out. If you're a fan of that series, I feel like more people are discovering this because it's consistently fun and cute. Has a lot of heart. I'm also gonna throw this out there. Let's give it a shot. I like Vita Ayala on a whole lot of other things. So Children of the Atom #1 is coming out this week. So check it out. Another 44-page book at a $4.99 price point.
Wow.
But at least it's a 44-page book at a $4.99 price point.
I'll take it.
For sure. With art by Bernard Chang, by the way.
Cool.
If you were just wondering about that. Eternals #3. It's coming out.
More Eternals.
I feel like not everyone's on board, but I am, so I just want to give my Eternals fans or friends out there a little like heads up. It's coming out, so grab it.
Yeah.
Written by Kieran Gillen with art by Asad Ribic. And I am going to check this out because remember how I said she looked like a Viking? Remember how I said Wonder Woman looked like a Viking? Yeah, Wonder Woman number 770 is coming out, where the subtitle on the cover says like "Vexed by the Vikings of Valhalla."
Oh.
I'll check it out. I want to just see where Wonder Woman's going right now. I tend to not stay on week to week with Wonder Woman for some reason. I don't know why. I rather read trade, but that's me.
Yeah.
This is written by Jordi Bellier and Becky Cloonan and Mike Conrad.
Apparently.
Not sure where that's going. Again, 40 pages, $4.99. A lot of books next week are going to be a little pricier.
Yeah.
I thought that might be, honestly, GC might be doing that as well. I don't know. So think about your budget, people.
Right?
Like, pick up the books that are important to you. Pick up the books you want to read versus something you heard hype about necessarily. Pick up something you want. Grab a book you really want to get a hold of.
That's right.
And we'll talk about it next week, I guess.
So, WandaVision. I don't want to do the whole episode. We're just going to talk about it. Let's talk about like just the end and our and the implications of the future. Likes and dislikes. What'd you like?
About WandaVision?
Yeah.
What I like, the emotional crux of the episode, obviously, and the series.
Yep.
I found that to actually be really well written and acted by Olsen and Bettany.
Agreed.
Like, I just, honestly, just a beautiful set of moments there at the end.
Easily.
That brought me to tears. Not gonna pretend like it didn't. But I felt a little weird about a couple things.
Okay.
The fact that we're tossing out things like more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme when we really haven't let him be that in his own movie. Really?
Nope. Nope. And we're already established. Like, well, then what's very supreme about being Sorcerer Supreme? If
nothing.
Some witch can be more powerful than him.
Well, I have no problem. I mean, she could be the Sorcerer Supreme. I don't care. But, like, it's just so funny to hear that. I'm like, have we even established that that's really a thing? Really?
They say it a lot.
They do say it a lot, and I do believe they do talk about it in the first film. But, like, you know what I mean? It's just such a funny thing to hear from me. I'm like, well, we didn't... Okay, fine.
Right.
Like, fine. Whatevs.
Yeah. I agree with those sentiments. How do you like Wanda's costume?
I like it.
I like it, too. I saw it next to her... like throwback costume, and seeing like the like throwback Wanda, Scarlet Witch like head thing that she wore as like a costume, I like that more.
You always do, so I can't even with you.
I
know
want
it's a nostalgia thing.
Make it bigger at least because it's very subtle.
No.
Like make it bigger.
No,
I think
it's fine. I actually like it, and she honestly fits in with everyone else as well. So like I get it.
Yeah, I keep the cape though.
Yeah,
the cape really makes it.
Yeah.
The White Vision setup and reveal, cool. There was a big conversation going on, which I'm not going to have, where it was like fan expectations and theories versus like the critical reception of the show, where people are like, it didn't do the things that my favorite YouTubers or me as a YouTuber suggested were going to happen, and therefore it sucks. TV isn't always about like detecting or trying to like solve a clue. Sometimes
something is actually really well done if you can't guess.
Right, and maybe like you shouldn't be trying so hard to guess if like you just let the narrative happen.
I have experienced both sides of that. I've experienced things where it's like they think they're being clever by not giving you all the pieces,
right? And
so like there's no way you could have figured it out, and it's like that's just
lame.
Cheap. But then there are sometimes where it's like this is honestly clever, and I didn't see this coming, and rewatching it now I do, and I'm like that's just good storytelling right there. I'm not saying that happened here. I just think that a lot of folk might have thought that this show was to do one thing, and that was not necessarily there.
No, yeah. People wanted, because here's the thing. I think like when they first announced it, WandaVision, I was like, pass. My least favorite characters in the MCU. Well, yippee. Getting their own show.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, it's a great show, and I really liked it, and I love Paul Bettany. I want more of him, but like Knight's Tale and everything. But like, I think a lot of people carried that baggage with them as they entered the show, where they're like, "There's been no MCU stuff. This is the only thing." I don't really care about Wanda or Vision or the relationship or like the implications thereof, but can it also be a backdoor X-Men thing? Because I really care about that. And like, Marvel knew that. Feige knew that, was like, nah, and like did a couple things to fuck with you.
I don't know if you guys remember, like several weeks back when we were talking about literally that reveal, I believe I said this could mean everything or literally nothing.
And it's actually worse than nothing because it's a boner joke. I thought that was actually more of a fuck you than it could have been. But at the same time, I also was like, man, what a wasted opportunity to make Evan Peters just some guy. But I don't appreciate it. I don't think it's funny. And I think it's too bad because it's like, you had this opportunity and you have this thing and you're doing it. Like, do it. Go all the way with it. Don't just make it a joke.
I'm gonna say this to everybody.
Yeah.
You know what we're dealing with here, people? It's magic.
Right.
Magic doesn't really have rules.
No.
So if they decide that that's not what they want to do in the future, regardless of the intent behind the action that they did, they can do that. Yeah. Because it's magic.
Right, exactly.
It's magic.
Yeah. Agatha was obscuring his identity or whatever. Who cares?
Right. Or Agatha didn't even realize the reason why she was obscuring his identity is because, like, he's not from around here or whatever.
Exactly. Why, she can give him speed powers? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of there's a lot of unanswered questions. And the other thing, of course, is that I don't think that they were planning too much. Like, I don't think that they had a roadmap for where they're going with X-Men, mutants, everything. Fantastic Four, a lot of people, Reed Richards, all that stuff. Like, when they developed the show. And so they're like, so rather than try and shoehorn shit that you won't see for 5 years, because I remember Feige saying something like, X-Men's not happening for another 5 years. And that was like a year ago. So it's like, would you rather have them say Reed Richards and then have it be weird? Like, I remember in Ultimate Spider-Man, in the very beginning of that comic, they reference like the Fantastic Four, and they're like Reed Richards is an old person who like hangs out with who is like a contemporary of his father or whatever. And then they created Ultimate Fantastic Four and like, nah, he's a kid. And they just ignored it. Now I don't want them to do that, but I also like recognize when you put the horse before the cart too much. So I value that they made it more about Wanda and Vision and magic.
I would hope so, since the show's called WandaVision.
Exactly.
I mean,
make it more about that.
Okay, here's something, folks. I didn't even remember the boner joke because the show wasn't about him.
No, exactly.
I mean, is that character intrinsically tied to Wanda's history? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Pietro at least.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't remember that because that wasn't the point of the episode.
No.
I don't know. I just kind of was like, whatever, moving on. Like,
right.
I literally couldn't care less.
Yeah, in the context of the show and in the narrative of the last episode, like throwing Quicksilver away, like sucks, but didn't matter. Like, because it wasn't part of the story.
There was no part of me that thought necessarily, honestly,
that's too bad.
That we were getting mutants from this.
Right.
I was like, they're not going to do this in a show.
Right.
I mean, they might hint at something, and again, like, that's where my theory came in, that like Agatha knew of multiverses, and that's why she picked this look for him, because she knew that look existed someplace else.
Right.
But it just, I don't know.
I also feel weird about Monica's role in the show now that it's over, and I think that had more to do with the fact that it was a time crunch. I feel like Monica is like, she's a fun character. It was fun to get her in there, to get Spectrum, Photon, and Captain Marvel into this show. And I'm glad that we can like kind of cut to the chase when we do establish her in something else. Hopefully her own thing, but we'll see. And I think that she was also a great use for being a narrative or emotional parallel to Wanda in terms of loss and emotional, stakes in this show. But I feel like they kind of threw her away.
I think that like we gave her a decent setup for a character who can now show up in a lot of other things, or even lead her own thing. Yeah. Like we gave her an origin story, and then now like we can see her without having to deal with that. We don't have to have that baggage anymore, which I kind of liked. I don't think she was necessarily thrown away. I liked the idea of like kind of creating new characters in a way.
Yes, I do too.
Through this show, while also using established characters. Again, it's WandaVision.
Right. So it's not about her.
So it's not about her. But I appreciated her being there, especially for that like final moment between the two of them, because I think a lot of folk could relate to that.
Yeah.
To relate to what she tells Wanda.
Right.
About like I probably would have done the same
yeah.
thing if I had that ability.
I want to be specific because there's people who are really dogging on the line where she's like, they'll never understand what you gave up for them, and it's like, yeah, that's lame.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit? But also like, yeah, she tortured these people for like a week.
Yeah.
Or however long. But like, no, it's the other line.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the other line. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me, because I didn't realize.
Well, I'm speaking
specifically of the line where like she's like, if I had your power,
I would have brought back my mom.
I would have done anything to bring back my mom.
Yeah,
and it's like, I appreciate that because that's like her also reminding Wanda of like being a person.
Right, like it's okay. Not it's okay to be weak, but like it's understandable.
It's not okay what you did, but like
I get it.
Like. A lot of folk would have done the same thing were they in your position, even if they don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
I was like,
exactly.
That's cool.
That's a great, that is a good distillation of the relationship between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I also I'm a part of the rest of the team where it's like, yeah, please give us a Jimmy Woo and Darcy show.
Sure.
Or whatever.
I would take a Jimmy Woo and Monica show too.
Yeah. Well, just the three of them.
Oh my gosh.
I'll also just take Jimmy and Darcy just being in more things.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
They're
obviously
fun.
they have big plans for Monica based on that ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which was like, I literally made a joke based off of a funny like YouTube video, and like that's what it turned out to actually be about. Like the well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, wait, we're actually kind of doing that. What?
Yeah. That's right. They're like, you're going into space.
You're going into space.
Good, and that's actually really like that's narratively satisfying because like they set that up when she first was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to go to space. She was grounded. It's
like,
yay!
Yeah,
that was cool. Vision kind of just like fucking off. I was like,
yeah, he left.
I want a little more closure on that character, but like they're like, no, we gave you closure on the character we created for the show.
I did too, but I also understand narratively it. Okay, so they kind of painted themselves into a corner a little bit.
Yes,
and here's why I say that because Wanda's entire arc is meant to be about coming to terms with grief, loss, and like the fact that even if you have the ability to change the reality around you, which she didn't necessarily realize it was even happening through most of this show, should you do that instead of just actually dealing with it?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like her fake Vision and actual white Vision kind of like fixed the fact that Vision is here, of course we're gonna have the question of like, is it the same Vision? Yes, he has the memories, but is it the same Vision?
Yeah.
Do they have the same feelings for one another? I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I felt like he had to leave now that I'm thinking about it because she doesn't have a closure then.
Yeah, she's not. That's
like,
not. Yeah.
She literally gets to say goodbye, realizes that like the immensity of her screw up.
Yeah.
And she leaves herself knowing that she needs to go into exile to deal with the rest of the ramifications.
Right.
I mean, obviously we see though that she isn't really dealing with
well,
she's not dealing with the other element.
Yes.
She's like, no, it's okay. I said goodbye to Vision.
Right.
That chapter's closed. I got this whole new thing I'm going to be hung up on.
Right. Now, that being said, I saw some speculation that, like, while she was going through the Darkhold, she was surprised to hear her children's voices. So it wasn't that she was using the Darkhold to find them.
No. I agree. I didn't get that either. I thought she was I thought she had stolen the book to educate herself. And like heard that. And I was like, well, now I can just use this for this. Or like maybe that was, again, you know, she's supposed to be in Doctor Strange 2. Maybe this is an indicator that like she's going to start checking multiverses to find the multiverse where she did have kids.
Right. That
and
could
take them.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm lots of fun setup. I hope it's like legitimate. It's not just like there was a part of me seeing her like doing the lone coffee drinking exile character, and that's her astral projection or whatever. And it's like, oh, she's better at astral projection than Doctor Strange. Cool. Yeah. But like that she's, you know, Scarlet Witching the Darkhold and like learning, like, I don't know. It felt like an afterthought. Like seeing it really felt like they were like, that's going to be a really cool, whoa, what the fuck moment. But also I don't know what that means or what it's implying.
Well,
you know, like how all the end credits for like the MCU in Phase 1,
mhm.
you know, like that scene. I remember I think it was Kenneth Branagh like freaking out about the James Gunn directed end scene where like Volstagg and Sif go to the collector's place and they give him the Infinity Gem, and he's like, and like Kenneth Branagh being like, I just wanted to establish I did not direct that scene. Like that should not be in my movie.
Right.
And it's like, it's a lot of fun, and James Gunn's great, but like I didn't feel like Sam Raimi directed that scene or anything. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like that was going to be like from anything. It just felt like them going like, that'll be cool. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ever like. It just felt like very much like tacked on.
Yeah.
Even and it needed to be earned, and like that scene and its place in the episode and in its element as a post-credit scene needed to feel needed to feel impactful and important.
Right.
And I feel like even though it was, that it, like, no one has a plan for that or wants to do anything with that.
I would say that I think that I might hold a little bit of judgment on that until we finish Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Because we'll have a better idea as to what these post-credit scenes for like a season are meant to do. Like, are they meant to connect to a movie? Are they meant to connect to a future season of it? Like, where are we meant to go with these? This is the first time. This is the first one.
Yeah. So, we have no idea. And it wasn't even supposed to be.
Right.
That's the big thing.
So, and again, you know, Doctor Strange 2 will come out at some point, and we might even have a better idea from that as well. Like, you know, does that connect to this? I mean, again, they established that the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. But still, you'd think it might blip on someone's radar that the Darkhold's floating around and being used out there.
Yeah.
Nah.
Right.
I did like, though, when she goes to that cabinet, like, we're doing, like, the zoom in.
Yeah.
And, like, you're like, oh, that could be Wundagore. And I'm like, or Latveria.
Yes. And I'm like, and that's that for me.
Not bad.
That felt like, they're like, it's just vaguely European. You don't know where it is. Like, we'll make up, we'll answer that question later. And that's what I don't want. I don't want phases to be like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll set that up later. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it's probably Wundagore, and you were like, or Latveria, and I'm like, no, that'd be awesome.
But it's not. I know it's not. You know it's not.
But it could be.
But like for me, like, listen, like, folks who wanted this to be something else, like, I'm sorry it wasn't what you were looking for, but I encourage you to wait a little bit and go back and rewatch the show for what it is, because I think there is some real heart and some real character development for like a couple of characters who didn't get as much time to develop in the films.
Yeah.
I honestly, like I said, like, I really, really enjoy the acting skill of Bettany and Olsen. I think they did such a good job.
Agreed.
I think everyone did a really nice job, honestly, but like, they're obviously like the stars of the show. You know, the biggest emotional crux happens between the two of them.
Yep.
And you know, it's so funny because, you know, you've got Paul Bettany there, and you know, he's got Vision makeup on, and it was still like, he does such a good job of like connecting, not only as like a person would connect, but as like a robot who has human emotions would connect. It's just another level, and I thought it was really well done.
Agreed. Let's jump into some super chats and then wrap up.
Sure.
Matthew Lane, I'm glad. No. Stephen Lyon. Can't stay long. I usually take advantage of the podcast version via Elseworlds Exchange. Thanks for the entertainment and info. Thank you. You're going to have to find another way to get that, though, because eventually, and by eventually I mean whenever we're ready, Off the Rack is going to be its own audio podcast on Apple and Stitcher and Spotify.
Well, no, he's saying that he takes advantage of this version on Elseworlds Exchange. Yes. So this is moving over. So it's not like you gotta... This is going to leave Elseworlds Exchange. Yeah, but like... So you're going to have to subscribe to Off the Rack, its own show. Yeah. Which will be available eventually. It's almost ready to go. We'll let you know. But thank you. Solar Sphincters, love you guys. Here's some money. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you very much. Logan Shirley, boner. Nice. Do you think Ralph still has his fast powers, or did that go away with his necklace? I think his fast powers were entirely magical based. Just entirely magic. Yeah. Miguel Martinez, Ralph Boner, seems like a fake name. Maybe he's Jimmy Woo's missing person. Great show. Love you guys. Oh, interesting. Funny, yeah. Mr. Roboto, so live action House of M is yes more mutants? I guess. Well, I guess that depends. If they let's you know, I'm throwing an idea out here, and I don't honestly believe in this. This just came to my right now. If they do decide that like she does want to look through the multiverse to find her children. What if she does find a universe in which mutants exist and there her kids are?
Yeah. Who knows?
And she's like, well, I'll just make that here then.
Right, exactly.
Oops, all mutants.
Yeah. I love that. Oops, all mutants. Storm King, how much do you think the pandemic impacted the outcome of the show? Dottie seemed sort of changed in character development. Stay strong and stay safe. You too. Yeah, I think it only impacted it in terms of when it came out.
Sort of. I mean, like, I get what you're saying with the Dottie character. I think she was a red herring.
Yes.
I think you were meant to think there was something more sinister there.
Yep.
But it turns out that Wanda was the sinister
That's
one.
right. That's right. And Mr. Roboto, one is magic, the other is not magic, different boxes.
I don't know what that was in regard to, so I can't react.
Neither do I. So that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, if you want more, make sure. Oh, Logan Shirley. Also, why did Ralph have a headshot in his apartment? He's an actor. That was the idea. Was that he was an actor, and she hired him, or like got him because of his ability to act.
Or maybe she got him because he did look like
Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Like from the multiverse.
Yeah.
If you want more on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Tiffany plays video games on twitch.tv/ComicPOP. Make sure to watch over on there. Give us a follow over there and check it out. It's a lot of fun. You have a lot of you have a really great community over there.
I do. I really
So check
like
it out
those
at
guys.
twitch.tv/ComicPOP. All links for everything, as always, are in the description below every video we have here. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack on Monday. Stay tuned tomorrow for Elseworlds Exchange Live, and of course Wednesday for back issues and more. The only way to not miss out is to subscribe. So subscribe to this channel, give the video a like if you feel inclined, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
I was waiting for another person, like Ethan.
Well, he ain't here.
I know,
It's
like,
just
you
us.
know, why?
Yeah. Bye, everybody.